We're gonna see if my new rescued octopus is gonna accept some frozen shrimp. She hasn't eaten this before, and all I've fed her up until this point is actually live food, which is what she'd normally eat in the wild. But this is gonna be a very important part of her diet, and it's gonna vary her diet up. It's a little cleaner, it's a lot less gruesome, and it's a much easier diet to maintain. So I'm gonna leave the shrimp in here to thaw out a little bit, and she's absolutely going for it. She's not deterred at all by the cold. Like, hey man, why is the food in a plastic bag? And the bag's probably cold, so it's probably deterring her a little bit. She has a strong hold. Like, I'm gonna pull my hand away from her suckers. You see that? They're really strong. Really starting to get back to a normal life. You know, I started feeding her live crabs, live snails, hermit crabs, and she accepted them with like open arms. She would eat like 3 at a time. The biggest test now is to try to get her to eat frozen food. Why? Because it varies her diet. It's much more sustainable because I can't keep 100 live crabs at all times. So this is, and it's a lot cleaner too than having to clean out crab shells or mussel shells. So the shrimp has finally thawed enough, and where I am, I can only find a plastic fork, but I think it'll be good enough to cut through it. Now, feeding these octopus, you only need to give them enough food, something as big as their eye, you know, and with frozen shrimp, it's hard to kind of get something as big as their eye because they're so tiny. I'm gonna give her this piece right here. I'm gonna try to put it in a Lego first and see if she'll actually go for it. Let's see. Usually when Birdie's done this, she stuck the tip of her arm inside in between the Legos. But I guess this is a bad idea because she is missing most of the tips of her arms. But if I see she's struggling, I will help her out. She's trying to go inside the Lego. That's not the way to the food, little girl. I'm gonna actually open up the Lego that has the shrimp inside. I really think I'm gonna name her Uno. I'm gonna put a poll up on Instagram and Facebook and see what everybody thinks, but I really like the name Uno because she has one arm. And it looks like she took the shrimp. She's holding it close to her beak. She's probably gonna take a couple of bites before she decides whether she wants to take it back to her den and enjoy her meal or not. But it looks, for the most part, that she's taken it. If you're not familiar with octopuses, if they don't like something that you give them to eat, they're just gonna throw it back at you. And you just saw that aggressive kind of shake that she did. They do this when they are getting ready to eat. So I think she's taking it. Just gotta wait and see if she decides to eat it in here or go back to her den. Oh, it's coming out. And you see how like her body is elongated? She has the piece of shrimp inside. And they use their suckers to kind of force it towards her beak, and then uses her beak to kind of chomp at it and eat. Yes, she took it back to her den. Maybe Uno has finally eaten frozen food, which is the biggest hurdle when keeping an octopus in an aquarium, is getting them to eat frozen food. Because once you do that, you have so many different foods that are available to you, and you could really vary their diet and make sure that they stay healthy. We just finished shooting a YouTube video about Uno and how I got her, so head over to YouTube, follow, subscribe so you can watch that.